Start stream, yes. All right. I think, bear with me as anybody who's watching. We'll wait for a couple people to join in. This is a bit of a work in progress because I'm still running. I'm running two different devices. One is a backup, which was important the last time because you'll notice towards the end when the YouTube stream was cut off, it started buffering like crazy. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I hope this is the best morning of your weekend and the best morning of your day. Thanks for joining me for coffee. I hope you have your coffee as well. Or tea. You know, a little side note, one of my closest friends is from England and can't stand coffee. I think he's mentally ill. I tell him frequently. But anyways, whatever you choose, good morning, and let's have an awesome morning today. A couple of things. One is, first, if you're watching the stream now, please like, share, subscribe, and also post in the live chat or in the comments afterwards. I do go through them. I get alerts on them periodically, and I'll try to respond to everybody and incorporate them in the question and comment section, which usually I seem to be flowing into doing it in the end. Again, much of this is new to me. This is mainly just for fun right now, but this is going to become increasingly more important as we get into fall of this year, and you're going to see why. The platform Gettr, so I don't know if you do or do not use Twitter. If you do not use Twitter, then go to Gettr. If you do use Twitter, you should have a Gettr account as well. Just as a hedge, Gettr is far more down the path of free speech, and now they've implemented direct messaging or private messaging, DM, whatever you want to call it. So that is going to become, I think, a far more legitimate platform now. Somebody asked me about, but Twitter has spaces. There is another platform called Call-In, which I've registered for. I did a podcast with, or was a guest of, Dan Held. Is very big in the Bitcoin space. This app Call-In also seems to be a good alternative to either Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces, and I'm also on Clubhouse, but don't really use it very much, and perhaps I should. I mentioned last time Ryan C7, who was the first person to subscribe during a stream. I jokingly said I hope it's a C7 with a 6-speed, meaning a Corvette, and he was referring to the rifle. So I should have realized that. But Ryan, all good. For those of you who don't know, a C7, I think it's manufactured by Colt. It's used by the Canadian military, if I'm not mistaken. Close cousin of the M16. I could be completely wrong on that, but anyways. Let's get into this. Is fascinating. This is amazing. So we all, rational people, really have nothing but disdain for Justin Trudeau at this point. At least I hope so. I think those of us who are aware of what's going on and aren't so easily flummoxed by below average acting understand what Justin Trudeau is. So yesterday or the day before, Joe Rogan on his podcast went down the conspiracy theory that Justin Trudeau is the illegitimate love child of Fidel Castro. Now, this has been going around for quite a while, and I'm going to predict that this will be yet another conspiracy theory that ended up being conspiracy fact. I might be wrong. I haven't gotten a DNA swab from Trudeau. I doubt anybody here has, but if there is anybody who can, that would be very, very informative. Let's go to answer. Let's send Justin Trudeau's saliva to Ancestry.com and see what we get back in terms of the results. But in all seriousness, let's think about this. It was during the 70s, right? Pierre and Trudeau's mom were swingers. That's a known fact. I'm not judging for or against. You do you. And they were traveling all over the world, and he got very close with Castro, and they were there on a regular basis. The pill was there. The morning after pill didn't exist. We didn't have the same level of contraception that we have today. Things have advanced so much. So is it that far of a stretch to say that a power-hungry couple that were swingers and felt they were invincible because one of them was running a country and meeting with dignitaries all over the world wouldn't have done something so careless? And if you remember back that time, I don't want to get into the abortion debate, but up until recent times, 15 years ago, there was a pro-life movement in the Liberal Party as much as there was in the Conservative Party in Canada. So the whole idea of abortion, I think, would have been frowned upon in those circles. I could be wrong. That's just kind of my reading on it. And there was a meeting that Trudeau's mom and Castro, and I think Pierre, Justin's stepfather, was there at the same time. And it was 9 months before Justin was born. And Justin looks like his twin. I think he looks... Maybe he's got a little bit of Che Guevara in him as well. Maybe there's something going on. But anyways, I just found it funny that you're now starting to see yet again something that was put in the conspiracy theory box and dismissed is now entering the cultural zeitgeist amongst average, regular, normal people or comedians. And hey, maybe Joe's just being funny. And that could be. It is funny. Even if it's not true, it's hysterical. So, that's if you have any comments on Joe Rogan or any complaints or you want to yell, then go yell at Joe Rogan. They're his words. The next thing I want to bring up, this is actually pretty serious. Mark Carney. Do y'all know who Mark Carney is? Mark Carney is the head of the Bank of England and the former head of the Bank of Canada, and he's held various similar positions. Mark Carney, in an article in Bloomberg, says this is the name of the article. This is the headline. Carney urges Libra-like reserve currency to end dollar dominance. Bank of England governor says global economic order needs dramatic revamp. Okay. So, not to dive into too much of the technological end of this, but what he's talking about is a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, a programmable currency. Instead of having pieces of paper in your wallet, you have the digital equivalent that can be manipulated by the government who prints that money or issues that money at will, whenever they want. Now, a little side note of Mark Carney, you might have seen his name starting to pop up here and there over the past 6 months to a year, doing various podcasts out of nowhere with people within Canada's political class. He's the Bank of England. What's he? I know he's Canadian, but what's he doing here? Mark Carney, I can tell you from my sources, is already tapped to be the next leader of the Liberal Party should they lose the next election. Okay? He is, unless something drastic changes, that's kind of the trajectory that they're going on. And this is a problem, and this is very dangerous to, not just all Canadians, but liberals need to wake up to this fact that how dangerous this can be. Why? And yes, Mark Carney is the guy who left the briefcase, and he was all over the news when he was head of Bank of Canada, being a little bit sloppy. Yeah, well, when you want sloppy, start pushing a digital a CBDC. And just so everybody knows, CBDCs came out of the Bitcoin world. People call them clown coins or SHIT coins or whatever. And the idea is it's actually the polar opposite of what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is it's a blockchain, a distributed ledger. Blockchain means, for regular people, it's a hyper-secure, very slow database. Peer-to-peer, kind of what Napster was. And a CBDC takes all the negative aspects of what Bitcoin is, removes all the freedom and privacy of Bitcoin, and puts it in the hands of the government. That's what a CBDC is. So you will have zero privacy if we went that way. I don't think we will. I think that's why they have people like this trying to plant the seed and push this now. And Mark Carney, by the way, is very much entrenched in the World Economic Forum, which I think at this point, if they're trying to starve people with their farming, ESG, nitrogen nonsense, are they an extremist organization? But anyways, so he's in close with, he's in very tight with the World Economic Forum, speaks there frequently, knows everybody who's there. He's already been tapped for the next leader of the Liberal Party to replace Justin Trudeau, which I think is going to happen sooner rather than later. I've been saying since March we're going to have an election before the end of 2022. My guess is we'll be in the polls in November again. Anything can change, but I think we're still on that trajectory. But the most dangerous thing about Mark Carney and CBDCs and somebody like that getting the reins of Canada is, if you think it's bad now, wait until you get somebody like that in office. Because unlike Trudeau, Mark Carney can form a sentence. He doesn't, you can tell Trudeau is acting. He has no idea what he's saying. He's trying to regurgitate a script that he has a very, very loose understanding of what he's supposed to say, which is why you have all the nonverbals and pregnant pauses and all that sort of stuff. Carney is different. He's very charismatic. He's very charismatic in front of the camera. That's part of the reason he's been so successful. I think he might be a lunatic, but or a sociopath in some way, but he is likable. He's very, very likable. And can you imagine having an articulate version of Justin Trudeau who is likable, who understands the systems that these nefarious people around him are trying to put forward and is on board with it and knows how to sell it and knows how to pitch it, which is what Justin Trudeau's weakness is. Trudeau has always appealed to the bottom of the barrel, least informed voter. And for example, Joe Rogan. Now, not that Joe Rogan's not informed, but he's not informed about Canadian politics. He knows nothing about Canadian politics, and why should he? He lives in the United States. So that's why when he said, when Trudeau came in, I kind of liked him. Yeah, because in that sphere, you're the bottom of the barrel voter, and that's what they're trying to appeal to. So I think all of us should get on our radar right now that Mark Carney is potentially gearing up to step in the saddle to continue this path into the abyss that Canada is on as leader of the Liberal Party, trying to become the next Prime Minister. We're still some time away from that, but that also kind of goes to show you that the people on the other side, or the people that are causing all this destruction in Canada, in the Netherlands, in many Western democracies, they are thinking long term. They're not thinking short term. The politicians think short term because they're just thinking about the next election. But in terms of the people who have the ideological alignment, they're thinking long term, which is why they're successful in doing what they're doing. They're not stupid. So that's Bloomberg's take. I'll put the link in the bottom in the description of the video, and please don't hesitate. Please share, like, all of that sort of stuff, and follow me on Twitter, Gettr, and on Substack. So I mentioned yesterday I'm going to have a Substack coming out once I get a few minutes to finish penning the article on ArriveCan and some of the things that have come out about ArriveCan and the dangers of it. Okay, so questions and comments. The last time I had a whole list of questions and comments, and we had technical problems, so I'm going to just go through a couple of them, and then we'll call it a day, because I got to actually go have a meeting for coffee with somebody in a few minutes. So one of the first comment, I think this is when I got cut off, I'm not sure, was from somebody by the name of Hugo. And Hugo says, you guys have opened my eyes. How can I help? Greetings from Mexico. By the way, an amazing country. If you've never been to Mexico, and I don't mean Cancun. Cancun is not Mexico. Cancun is the United States in Mexico. But I mean going to places like Guanajuato, Guadalajara, León, the interior. Even Monterrey is okay, but not quite as nice as the interior. And Guanajuato is probably the most beautiful place that I've seen in Mexico. Check it out. But anyways, Hugo, what can you do to help? Just keep speaking and talking to people about what's going on, because Canada is increasingly becoming a template for the rest of the world. Now, you have AMLO as your president, which is actually, when I was last in Mexico, was when he was just elected. And AMLO is, a socialist, which is really concerning. But I will give him credit that he has been rather tempered in his governance, and that's also partially because the Mexican government's a narco government. There's only so much that they can do, but or so much harm that can be done. But he's been, I don't know, from my vantage point from Canada, I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong because I'm not up on Mexican politics, but from what I'm told from friends in Mexico, he hasn't been anywhere close to perfect, but he's been not nearly as bad as they thought he would be. So, is that a victory? I don't know. You decide. But tell everybody. So when I was in Latin America recently, I brought up, I try not to poison every conversation with politics, but, the whole loss of our freedoms issue is, I think, the most serious issue of our day. And everybody there wanted to ask me about the Freedom Convoy and what happened, why it happened, all that sort of stuff. So it naturally became a topic of conversation. So I did my best to red pill, trigger word for some idiots. I did my best to red pill as many as my friends down there, both extranjeros and Latinos, about what's going on in Canada. It was amazing how many of them said, oh, yeah, you know what, that's a lot of the same nonsense that's happening in this was in Colombia specifically. And at that time, the president of Colombia, Duque, who was he was like an Aaron O'Toole, said he's conservative, did the opposite, was a leftist. He was posting all these wonderful things about his friend Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum. I couldn't believe it. It was shocking. So what did they do in Colombia? They primaried him while he was president. What a loser. So, just Hugo, whatever you do, keep talking to people, share these streams, share our articles. A good way is just teach people about, the Freedom Convoy. There's so many videos about the Freedom Convoy, and obviously interviews that I had done during the Freedom Convoy as well, and Tamara's stuff and her situation with the government trying to continually try to persecute her. So just keep speaking out, and pardon me, I got an itch on my nose. I'm not picking my nose. Please let everybody know. Okay. The next comment was about the Canadian revival will be televised, or Canada's revival will be televised. Excellent article. Blackface Caligula Day as leaders is numbered for sure. We need to focus on the NTP to trigger an election. That leader is just as corrupt, so maybe sometime soon. Yeah, I think that's part of the key. Is Jagmeet Singh. Jagmeet Singh is horrible. Absolutely horrible. Extremely corrupt. He's lost his own community. The Sikh community absolutely despises him at this point. That's why they're chasing him down the street all the time, and he's running away like a complete coward. And imagine you come from the Sikh community, a community that's all about being a warrior, being about strength and protection, and you run down the street like a coward. You know who you are? You're a coward wearing a Sikh costume. That's what Jagmeet Singh is. So his days are numbered, which is part of the three reasons I explain why we're going to head into an election in that article. If you haven't checked that article, it's on my Substack, bjdichter.substack.com. The next... I apologize, guys. I did this like on a whim. I wasn't actually going to do a stream today, but I figured, why not? I had 45 minutes between a call and a meeting, so I figured I'd do it. Okay. This next comment is from no name, really, VFA. I don't know what that means. I remain puzzled why OPS chose to charge Tamara and Chris Barber for their convoy activities and not you. Not that they should have been charged, but did OPS ever explain why you were spared? Yes, this is the I know that person's not trying to accuse me, but during the convoy, there's a group of people who are on who claim to be on the political right. They think they're on the right, but they're leftists. Why? Because they're in that white identitarian movement, so they have the exact same philosophical underpinnings of Black Lives Matter, but instead of having an out-group preference, or should I say, instead of having an out-group preference, they have an in-group preference. Okay, Black Lives Matter is not a good example, but let's take the progressive extremists. We got a comment here, the white trash army. Yeah, I guess. That could be a part of it. So those people, they think they're right-wing, but they're really left-wing because they adhere to all the same identitarianism that the extremist, racialized progressives do. They just do it on the right? So on the far left, what they say is we want government enforcement of racialized quotas in, you name it, our school system, the CBDC, whatever. But these people who claim to be right-wing who are not, they want the same thing, but in favor of white people. Neither of these are either right-wing or conservative worldviews. This is left-wing extreme identitarians. But these people have no education, so they don't know that that's what it is. So those people throughout even before the convoy, a couple of them got obsessed with me because because I'm Jewish, that means I'm Mossad. Anyways, they got obsessed with me before, and they just kind of, utilized them and who's that trashy MPP who's out? I can't remember. Anyways, would use this. Oh, why didn't he get arrested? Why didn't he get arrested? Well, I mean, specifically, I don't know. I had a broken ankle, so I wasn't exactly on the ground walking around with the truckers and talking to people. I did for the very beginning. But once I broke my ankle, I was basically incapacitated. I was trapped in a hotel. That's why I did all these interviews on GB News and Newsmax and Fox News, and then all the alternative media, because I need to focus on messaging. I have a broken leg. What am I going to do? So my plate was full every day. I was, morning basically until late bedtime. I was doing as many interviews as possible to try to get the word out about the convoy. So I think that might have had something to do with it. Also, once the government the police became violent. I met with some of the road captains. We all decided, or I should say, they really decided. They asked what I think, and I suggested, yeah, you're right. It might be time to go because we don't want people to get injured. That's not what we're here for. We've won. The government's shown how weak they are. So if you agree, and they said to me, some of these guys won't leave, and I explained to them, it's your job to convince them that they need to leave. And why that's important. So the rumor mill started from this leftist army who thinks they're right wing. That he's he didn't get arrested, and then all these other people, and people don't know. They're like, oh yeah, why didn't he get arrested? Well, once I did leave, I left the red zone. Once the police were starting to act, and we tried to tell everybody, okay, let's get out of here. It's over. I was on the phone with lawyers for a week, like just constant, just getting ready, prepared, communicating, all that sort of stuff. Like there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes because I didn't know. I was never contacted by any police services. I never reached out to nothing, but I was just prepared just in case they did. That I would have somebody ready to respond and all that sort of stuff. But I think what the police were trying to do is, I'm trying to take the policing frame, trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think they were just trying to de-escalate the situation and move the protest out. I think that was their primary concern. Their primary concern wasn't arresting me or Tamara or anybody. They just happened to be on the street and the leaders of the convoy. So if that's the case, then okay, they pick them up. I don't think it was, now the way the government and the prosecutor behaving is entirely different. Now we're in a completely different phase. But during the convoy, it was just, the police just wanted to get everybody out of there. Agencia Canada Español. Hello, hola. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Gracias. Anyways. So that's all I really want to talk about today. I got a meeting that's going to start in 15 minutes, so I have to get out of here or I'm going to be late. What did you think of that? Is this getting better, worse? Was this too dense? Should this be a little bit more lighthearted? I think we can go a little bit lighthearted as well. If you're on Twitter, remember, follow me on Twitter, Gettr. We're streaming on locals right now. That's what this stream here right now is for locals. So we're going to be doing more bias towards locals in the future. I want to make that the center of conversations. Mattbox CX, good live. Thanks, I appreciate it. Listen, so the only third time then I'm trying to learn this work in progress because I have to help another creator develop a platform as well. So thank you, everybody. Substack, bjdictor.substack.com. Do not hesitate to send questions, comments. Please like, share, subscribe. That helps all the algorithm and stuff. And much of this platform, as it's just a trial right now. This is just having fun and having some coffee and talking about some of these things. I think it may become very important as we get into some of the events that are happening during the fall. But we'll talk more about that. And yeah, okay, gotta run. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.